Clearly, when you're as big as Costco is with over 600 stores, you are the economy. You're a reflection of what's going on. And from the consumer standpoint, they are seeing evidence of inflation, especially in the grocery aisle. Look, meat's up close to double digits year over year. Flour's up 50% in a decade. We're seeing food and produce, eggs, milk, all soaring. Consumer sees that inflation. The economic data supports it. PPI, CPI. Look at the tips market. People are piling in, worried about future inflation. And then finally, we look at Costco. We see Costco operating expenses, merchandising costs up 7% year over year. They can't eat it forever, Bill and Taylor. They got to pass it through. They pass it through. We all pay. There's no free lunch. That's going to be our cost. Our costs are going up. It's a sign of things to come, and it's a sign of peak profit margins for corporate earnings if that happens.
The question here is one that's facing food companies first and foremost. We've heard Howard Schultz talk about rising coffee prices. We've heard Chipotle talk about rising guacamole and avocado prices. And now we hear Costco talking specifically about rotisserie chicken. So, I mean, we talk about inflation overall, but it does seem somewhat isolated to the food companies. And it does seem that at least for the time being, they are not passing on the full extent of these increases to the customer. And that's why it's hitting the bottom line for them.
Well, yeah, Taylor, I would argue that you're seeing other evidence in retail. If you look at Walmart, for example, if you look at Staples, if you look at TJ Maxx, if you look at Best Buy, a lot of retail is contracting. I mean, retail is really suffering right now. And some of those are non-food companies. So it's not specific to Costco, the malaise that we're seeing in retail. I would also argue that it's very early. We're seeing this start to pass through. The bond market, gold market don't see evidence of inflation. The tips market shows future inflation. So this may be a story that plays out over subsequent quarters that again begins to impact profit margins. It starts with food, but it ends with other areas, manufacturing input costs. The consumer is 2/3 of the U.S. economy, and if the consumer perceives inflation, it hurts the overall economy. Nothing drives the U.S. economy like the U.S. consumer.
All right, we got to go at this point. Larry, thanks for your contributions.
Thank
I was
you.
about to say, as long as Costco doesn't change the price of the giant coconut cream pie, there's nothing better. There is nothing better.